You don't miss her. That sounds harsh at first, almost disrespectful to the memories you shared, the nights that stretched too long, the way her laugh used to land perfectly in the quiet. But stay with me, because this truth doesn't erase the love. You just have to look at it without nostalgia doing the talking. When she left, or when things faded slowly enough that you didn't notice the exact moment it died, something else disappeared too. And your mind keeps pointing at her, saying, that's what's missing. But if you sit alone long enough, really sit, without distractions, without scrolling, without replaying old texts, you'll notice something strange. What hurts most isn't the absence of her voice. It's the absence of you. You miss who you were when you woke up with purpose. You miss how light you felt before life became heavier. You miss the version of yourself that believed love would fix everything. Back then, you laughed louder. You dreamed bigger. You imagined futures without calculating risk first. You weren't guarded. You weren't cynical. You weren't always preparing for loss before joy even arrived. She didn't create that version of you, but she witnessed him. And now that she's gone, it feels like he disappeared with her. That's the illusion. Because memory is sneaky. It doesn't archive reality. It edits it. It removes the arguments, the silences, the anxiety, the nights you felt unseen even while lying next to her. What it keeps is the warmth, the promise, the moments where you felt alive. So when you say you miss her, what you're really missing is how alive you felt around her. Think about it. If she walked back into your life today, exactly as she was back then, would it really fix the ache? Or would it just remind you how much you've changed? You're not the same man who loved her. You've seen disappointment. You've learned restraint. You've trained yourself not to fall too fast. The pain isn't asking for her return, it's asking for your return. After the breakup, something subtle happens. You don't just grieve the relationship. You grieve the future you rehearsed in your head, the trips you planned, the version of yourself who believed he was finally chosen. And losing that version feels like losing identity. That's why the silence feels so loud. That's why random songs hit harder than they should. That's why you feel empty even on days when nothing bad happens. But here's the uncomfortable truth no one tells you. That version of you wasn't dependent on her. It was activated by how you felt about yourself while you were with her. The confidence, the hope, the sense of direction. You outsourced those feelings to the relationship. And when it ended, it felt like everything collapsed. So your mind does what it knows best. It romanticizes the past and calls it love. But missing someone shouldn't erase who you are. Love isn't supposed to cost you your identity. If the loss feels like a personal disappearance, it's because you stopped being present for yourself long before she left. You stopped choosing your growth. You stopped listening to your instincts. You bent yourself just enough to keep the connection alive, and now you're paying for that silence. That's why moving on feels impossible. Not because she was irreplaceable, but because you don't recognize yourself without the role you played in her life. You were the one who checked in, the one who tried harder, the one who held space, the one who believed. And now you don't know where to put all that energy. So you sit with it, you replay, you analyze, you ask, what if I said this differently? What if I stayed? What if I left sooner? But those questions aren't about her. They're about reclaiming control. They're about trying to go back to a time when things made sense. Here's the shift that changes everything. Stop asking why you miss her, and start asking who you stopped being. When was the last time you felt curious about life? When was the last time you pursued something without needing validation? When was the last time you trusted yourself fully? That man still exists. He didn't vanish. He just went quiet because pain is loud and grief demands attention. But healing doesn't come from forgetting her. It comes from remembering you. Not the version of you that loved her, but the version of you that loved living. You don't heal by replacing her. You heal by rebuilding your sense of self without anchoring it to someone else's presence. You heal when your mornings stop being about absence and start being about intention. When your worth no longer depends on being chosen, but on choosing yourself consistently. And yes, some nights will still ache. Some memories will still sneak up on you. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're human. But the goal isn't to erase the past, it's to stop living inside it. Because one day, you'll notice something quietly powerful. You'll think about her without feeling hollow. You'll remember the relationship without losing yourself in it. And you'll realize you don't want her back, you want you back. And that's the moment everything changes. You don't miss her. You miss who you were before you forgot who you are.